Hello, good evening. It is me, Artie Bawden, your favourite local nightmare, and the fella that once said, "Hey, I never said I was gonna be a nice dictator," when I was in primary school. Which really says a lot about me. Anyways, hello, welcome to my final evaluation. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about everything that happened because I'm physically incapable of writing. Yay. It do be that mental health struggle though. Anyways, so this entire project has been my struggle era. It's been a nightmare. I have really struggled with this, and I'm gonna talk you through it now. So, let's start at the beginning. Um, yeah. So, we finished Unit 10 and 11 and 12 around the same time, and then we went on some kind of, it was like, I think we had a half term to do it, or it could have been a full holiday. Anyway, we had a amount of holidays to come up with some ideas for a FMP. Unfortunately, I was so burnt out from the previous three projects that my brain hurt and I couldn't think of anything. I had no ideas. I had no thoughts in my skull. As per usual, to be fair. So, yeah, I decided to. Well, I didn't decide, I asked if it would work. I came up with a presentation instead of having two ideas for a project. It was two, like, concepts for, like, the main theme. And my two main themes that I was like, Ayo, what do? Which one to the class were vampires and children. So, really, that's certainly a strange thing, to have thought up for my two things. But, apparently I talked really fast, as per usual, and I had the class pick me a concept because I didn't have any ideas. Or rather, I had too many ideas. I had lots of ideas, but I didn't actually like many of them. I was like, these are ideas. Can I do them? No. And so they picked vampires because it's me. I'm not even secretly, like, kind of goth. I dress. Somebody once told me that I dress like a pirate that's recently recovered from scurvy. It's a nice thing that I recovered, but, you know, scurvy. Anyways, yeah, it was kind of a nightmare. I had no ideas, but I now had the theme of vampires, which I couldn't think of a single project for. So I started thinking about, hey, what kind of project could I do? And so I went through, like, all of the different, like, ideas that I might have used, like doing a short documentary on some kind of musician. Like, I really put heavy thought into doing a short documentary on the life of Nicky Six because I really liked his book, The Heroin Diaries, which, certain parts of it did inform my book that I wrote for my project, because he he just talks really candidly about his life, and I kind of wanted to do a similar thing with my book. So that's what I did. I'm not sure if I actually wrote that one down, but I certainly did actually take inspiration from Mr. Nicky Six himself. Heroin Diaries, banger book. If you ever get a chance, you should definitely read that book because it's really interesting, actually. Um, that's completely off topic though. Where was I? Yes. So, I went through and I thought about other projects that I could do. I could do a short film. I could do, like, a music video. Another one, I could do, like, a music video based on the music video for Home by Cavetown, where it's like a pop-up book, and the pop-up book has the lyrics to the song in it, as you just, like, move the interactive book along, like in time with the music, which Love a Lift a Flat Book really would do that, but also I had no idea how to do that. I also considered doing like well, I considered lots of things actually. I spent a lot of time in the idea phase for this. I spent like the first week and a half on it. I considered doing like a weird art house movie because I got really into the movie Green Elephant for a bit. I don't know why, but it's a good movie to be fair. Well, good is relative. It's art house. Love a good art house movie, but yeah. I considered doing something like that. I considered making like a children's book, which I did eventually do actually. I was like, maybe I could do a short film, maybe I should do a trailer for something. You know, a short documentary, perhaps some kind of D&D thing. And I had lots and lots of ideas, but eventually I was like, I need to pick something. So I got help from one of my tutors on that, specifically Gary. I was like, Gary, how do I pick something? And Gary said, just like go in depth on two of your ideas, two or three, and just go in depth on them, and you'll see if you actually like them. And if you do, then great. And if you don't, then you've got a whole backup one, which is like fully fleshed out as an idea. And I was like, hey, that would work really well. So I fleshed out a couple of ideas. Specifically, I fleshed out, oh gosh, where is it? So I fleshed out, 4 ideas because I'm a crazy little overachiever, and I fleshed out the pop-up book music video, a body horror short film wherein a man turns into a teddy bear, a vampire music film thing where I was like, ayo, I could like do some kind of like special effects makeup, build like a music video, but like a story based one where there's like actual dialogue and stuff, where it's closer to a short film which like tells the story of the music instead of like a, you know, like instead of like a straight music video. Similar to the video for like a short version of Save Rock and Roll by Fall Out Boy, which, yeah, I was like really into that idea, but I realized that was going to take ages and I didn't have any ideas whatsoever. And then I also considered doing a children's book where I had like a bunch of ideas for that. Like, I had 3 like fully fleshed out ideas for what I could do for a children's book. And I was like, hey, these will all work really, really well. And then I was like, well, I don't know, I really like all of these ideas. Which really made it kind of a problem, because, like, you know, you can't do 4 FMPs at once. Which, yeah, I wish I could, because, well, then I'd be able to actually get things done. Which, you know, isn't really happening at this point. So, anyway, I specifically, like, split it down to just, like, 2 of them. I picked my favourite 2 at the time, which was the teddy bear body horror short film and the like practical music video based on like a pop-up book. And I forced my friends to tell me which one they liked more. And the consensus was very much the body horror teddy bear thing, but a lot of them were like, are you gonna have time for that? And I was like, no. But it'll be a banger if I do. And yeah, that was like where that went. So I was like, let's hope for the best. And so I picked the teddy bear body horror movie short film thing. And I started going like all in. And that was a big mistake. Because, you know, I was like, right, I'm gonna do all of these incredible special effects. I'm gonna do like full latex, like prosthetic makeup, and I guess I'm going to have to build a whole fursuit for the climax of my movie. And then I looked up how long it takes to build a fursuit. And I went, I am not building a whole fursuit for the climax of my short film. Because, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, that would be completely nonsensical, silly, and like a really bad plan, honestly. Because, like, it takes like 3 months for a professional to build one of these like really intricate fursuits, and I was out here like, I'm gonna build a whole teddy bear mascot suit and also all of these prosthetics and do practical effects and also force one of my friends to actually work with me, which no. No, no chance of that. So yeah, I started panicking. And boy, oh boy, when Artie panics, he certainly goes all in. Yeah, I had no idea what I was doing. I was already stressing like the deadline was about to happen simply because I had no idea how to start. I did some research on like body horror movies because of course I did. I really like body horror movies. I was like, hey, I'm thinking about Kafka's The Metamorphosis again. And like some kind of like, I was like fully acting like one of those like, I was like fully acting like I was like an English literature student that was like fully like about to just reel off a I can't wait to go to Cambridge and start my real life. You don't understand me. Have you read Hemingway? Wow. You can understand this without reading Hemingway. And I really hated myself at that point because, like, I was like, ugh, I can't believe I've turned into this. Because, like, immediately before I started watching a bunch of body horror movies, as like, and reading, like, body horror books and referencing, like, video games with body horror elements, I was, like, really into art house movies. And only the most pretentious people are into art house movies. And I would know I really liked art house movies. And so I was like constantly just talking to my friends about these like really like big deal things. And I thought I was so smart. And like this is like a few months ago at this point. And I'm like, wow. I really went all in on that. And yeah, I certainly did. And boy, oh boy, do I wish I hadn't. Because I just couldn't get anything done. I was just nerding out about movies and books and stuff to try and get over the fact that I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know where to start, and I was already freaking out, even though it was like 3 weeks into the project tops. So I was like completely stressing over this, and I was just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't even know where to start. I'm just gonna hope for the best. And then I went, wait a minute, why am I doing all of this? Why am I putting myself through this when I'm so early into the project that I can just fix it by changing projects? And so I started considering whether I wanted to change my project, because I really liked the concept, and I liked the work that I'd put into, like, my project that I was working on. I liked my ideas, I liked the concepts I'd come up with, I liked the storyline I was looking at, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to do it in the time, and I was like, maybe I could just, like, turn it into a pitch deck for a full movie. And then I was like, no, I don't want to do that. Because it just doesn't sound interesting to my brain. I don't know why, it just didn't seem interesting at all. And then I was like, well, maybe I should revisit the ideas that I had at the beginning, the 4 ideas that I tried to flesh out. So I looked back at them and I was like, hey, maybe I could do like the pop-up book music video. That seems like a really nice time thing to do. So I started looking into it. I started really weighing up whether I wanted to swap projects or not, and I was like, maybe I should. That seems like it would be a good idea. But also, I've put a lot of work into this current project, and so I kind of just stressed about it for like another like 3 days. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to keep working on the project. I wasn't sure if I wanted to swap projects. And on the Thursday of that week, I saw that Charlotte was in college, even though I think she was supposed to be seeing somebody like about something. And I was like, Charlotte, 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 until she eventually paid attention to me because I am intensely annoying. And I basically went, give me a tutorial immediately, please, 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 please. And so she gave me a tutorial because I was intensely stressed and I probably looked like I was about to fall over, judging by how I look currently. And so I was like, hey Charlotte, I hate my project because I don't think I can finish it in time. She was like, wow, that does sound like a problem. Have you considered changing projects? And I was like, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I was, I was kind of like intensely stressed about it. And Charlotte, I think, could tell that. And so she was like, okay, let's think about this rationally, like people, rather than whatever's going on with you. Well, she didn't say that. Charlotte is too nice to ever say anything like that to me because, I am well aware that I constantly look like I've just, like, fallen off of a tree, I guess? I don't know. Anyway, so she went through, like, my brain with me. She just, like, pulled out a sieve, put my brain in it, and suddenly I had ideas. Which was wild. Because immediately before Charlotte started helping me, my brain was an empty void made of custard. And so, it was really, really helpful. And we went through, like, what I could do, what might actually be handy about it. And I was like, this is actually a really cool idea. Because we worked on it. We, like, fully workshopped an idea, like, right then and there. And I had a new project by the end of a single tutorial. And I was so much more excited about it because it meant that I didn't have to, like, stick to one thing or, I didn't have to, like, box myself in, which was something which I'm not very good at. And so it was like really handy, and I'm very, very glad I did that because I would not have been able to complete the previous project. I would have just gone into stress paralysis for like 10 weeks, which, ooh boy, stress paralysis for even a few days sucks. So 10 weeks of stress paralysis, I would simply keel over. So yeah, that's like part one. That's like the up until the switch over. So I swapped projects, I wrote up a new proposal, I came up with new ideas, I started looking into books because I decided to do an art book instead, which I was far more excited about because, I like art. My name is Artie. No, I mean, I didn't name myself for that because of the correlation. I was already called something art based, but I decided, hey, Artie. I'm already being called Artie. I may as well. No, that's completely off topic. Anyway, yeah. So I started working on my new project, and I worked really, really hard on it. I worked really, really hard on it. Really, really, really hard on it. And then I finished it, and here we are. So let's backtrack a bit because I probably should actually explain the project. So, I made a children's book for adults based on the like traumas of growing up, because growing up sucks. I hated it. Worst experience. 10 out of 10 wish I was Peter Pan. 10 out of 10? 0 out of 10. 0 out of 10 wish I was Peter Pan. fully wish I could have just vibed off to Neverland before I even grew up. But here we are. I'm like 20 now, and I was like, wow, this year is me not being a teenager anymore. And I was kind of like, oh boy, I'm just a depressed adult now. It's not teenage angst anymore. I don't have a funny excuse now. So I was like, oh boy, I can like super definitely work on this. Like, I can fully like run with this fact that I'm no longer a teenager and growing up sucks. And so I decided to like base my entire project around that. And in addition to me fully wishing I'd just become Peter Pan, like run off to Neverland, even though like Mr. J.M. Barrie decided to make that place. Well, technically his next door neighbor child decided to make Neverland, but you know, he wrote it down and then donated all the money to the Great Ormond Street Hospital, like the Chad he is. So yeah, anyway, I was like, I'm trans, and so like that added another like extra bit of oomph to me growing up, because you know, I grew up the wrong way, didn't I? I was I was supposed to be big, big, big boy, and I ended up as you know, well, someone once referred to me as looking like a pirate that just recently recovered from scurvy. So I guess that's what I look like. But like, yeah. So I worked really hard and I tried to like wobble all of my funny little trauma about growing up into a book. That I used the phrase to comfort the disturbed and to disturb the comfortable a lot in my work. And that was said by some kind of sports guy in America when he was just giving a completely unrelated lecture and everyone just went latched on. And yeah, it really stuck with me because I saw it in the comments section of the video, the short film Opal by Jack Stauber, and I was like, wow, that really explains everything that I'm trying to go for right here. So I really just like borrowed that and stuck it everywhere in my work because it was a really inspiring phrase to me. And I used a lot of inspiration from music and from lots of different places really, but especially music and like lyrics, because music influences so much of my art. And so if like you know the music that I was listening to at the time, quite a few of the pages mirror the songs that I was listening to at the time. For example, the page where it says something along the lines of I'm dying to please the eye, is very kind of I was listening to the song Angels of Porn by Nicole Dollinger at the time a lot. It's a song about eating disorders and about like, you know, the like pressure to like not, well, kind of, yeah, it's like about the pressure to one, not eat, and two, put out, if you know what I mean. And I really took a lot of inspiration from that song for that page. But I also took a lot of inspiration from children's books in the form of a book called No Matter What, which was my favourite children's book when I was a child. And the last page of it really stuck with me when I was a kid. Well, the last few pages, it's small look at the stars, how they shine and glow, but some of those stars died a long time ago. Still they shine in the evening skies, love like starlight never dies. And I was like, absolute banger. Incredible choice. I must immediately meet Debbie Gliori, and I did in fact meet Debbie Gliori, and I have a signed copy of that book because I met her at the Lit Fest when she came over for it, and I was like, this is the best day of my life. At some point I'll meet Lauren Child, and that will be slightly even better because I adored Lauren Child. I really grew up with her books, and I did actually take quite a bit of inspiration from the art style for the childish sections of my book, from like Charlie and Lola and Clarice Bean, because yes, I grew up with those two characters, and I fully related because I could never get on with the teachers either, which is a major plot point in Clarice Bean. There's like a teacher in it who she just doesn't get on with, and it's really funny. That's not a comment on any of my tutors. I really like you. I do, in fact, mean, mandatory education, the high school teachers. I zone out a lot. It's the ADHD, the anxiety disorder, and the depression. Oh, yeah. But yeah. And so I did actually try to include that as well. And I'm not sure if that went well. I'm not sure if that conveys over at all. But, I gave it a go. And I think that I probably should have. Well, I say probably. I definitely should have stopped doing the research a lot sooner and started on the book a lot sooner, because by the time I actually got onto the book, it was like an absolute scramble to get it finished. It was like trying to climb a cliff in like 20-mile an hour, like pelting rain, big gusty winds, and there's a goat staring at me, going, alright, mate, and I'm having a moment about it, Like, that's pretty much how I was feeling at the time. A goat was staring me in the face and talking to me. That's how disconnected from reality I got by the end of the project. Plus the panic attacks, they weren't helpful. As I said earlier, I have kind of some format of anxiety disorder. I know I have an anxiety disorder, we're not sure which one it is yet. But yeah, I suffer with quite violent panic attacks, and because I left my book so late in my project, I ended up feeling like I was going to die. I had some of the most extreme panic attacks I've ever had, to the point where during one of them I started physically clawing at my neck because my human format believed that I was being strangled. I couldn't breathe that much, which, really not great. So yeah, if I could do it again, I would very much start earlier, because jeez, banger not great time. But I do think that I've produced a really quite good book. I like a lot of the phrases I used in it. I'm really proud of a lot of the pages from it, especially the fully crayon page. I'm so proud of that. It's not even funny. But I specifically tried to mimic the design choices that a children's coloring book would have, and I think I got that really quite well. I used green as a metaphor for both the envy of the childish innocence, but also the life, the growth that's happening. And I really like that. I think it's subtle, but I think that people that like colour theory are going to be like pouncing on that. I certainly would be. And I used a lot of references from, for example, the Forest Fic colour theory scheme, which boy oh boy did that book hurt me. But I used in the page about hunting for affection. I used the red and purple from the Forest Fit color scheme, because I was like, yes, absolutely, this is a completely uneasy situation. It makes sense. I used the 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 red and the yellow from the colors. The yellow meaning like cowardice, but also like, you know, death in some cultures, and the red meaning like the anger, but also the passion. And I was like, yes, this is my color theory page. And I really like went all in on that color theory for that page. I was like really going in on it. Like one of the characters is like fully in blue, which is, you know, it's blue. Blue da ba dee da ba da. No, not that. Come on, Artie, get it together. Yeah, I used the blue for like the sadness, but also the like the knowledge that it's not right, that it's not how it should be, but it is what it is. And the pink, the pink in the hair for the like, you know, the adoration of the other character in that page. And I was like, I'm working real darn hard on this. But I also included the Forest Fic idea of the blue black as the colour scheme. The blue the blue black meaning like sadness and depression, and I was like, banger. This is the goal. This is what I want for the rest of it. And I'm really, really proud of a lot of the pages in the book. But as I said, I definitely would have started earlier because, oh boy, it has been a nightmare. I'm actually recording this the night of the hand-in, as in hand-ins tomorrow, and I'm still recording this because I was so behind on things like the written work and the everything else that I was not finished enough to actually do my evaluation until now. And I'm not proud of that because, you know, I worked really hard this project to try and get like time management under control, because that's something I've always struggled with. I've never been any good at keeping track of days or time or the passage of time. I've been very bad at that the whole existence on the planet. I've been bad at that. And I may be 432. Who knows? I certainly don't. I don't remember how old I am. Well, I know I'm 20 because there was like a whole situation about me being 20, but you know, it is what it is. But, you know, I constantly forget that I'm not younger than I am, which, oh boy, is that fun. Because I'm just like, ah, yes, fellow 15-year-old, how's it going? To like my friend who is 15, which isn't weird because we've known each other since we were kids. But yeah, and he's just like, you know, you're 20, right, mate? And I'm like, yes, I forgot about that because my brain still thinks I'm 12 half the time, which, you know, is kind of weird, but, you know, considering that I exist in a strange little flux state of artiness, is fine, it's fine. But I really struggle with the passage of time, and I tried to work really, really hard to get my time management under control for this project, and I failed. I failed miserably at that, to the point where, as I said, I'm recording this the night of hand-in. Hand-in is in, 3 hours. Which, you know, handy. But yeah, I've had a real struggle with this project. It has not gone well. It has not been good. And I have not had a good time. but I am really proud of what I managed to create. Oh, the joys of the exhibition. I really like my exhibition area. I had originally wanted to create like an entirely enclosed nook, but I was told that I couldn't do that for various reasons, which I do understand. But you know, it really stressed me out at the time. Did I have a panic attack and cry in a bathroom? Yes, I did, but nobody needs to know about that. I just told whoever's listening to this. Oh boy. Well, that's embarrassing. Just pretend you didn't hear anything. Yeah, I created my little book nook. It's lots of cushions, lots of blankets. I specifically created what I would want as a safe space to read the book in. Because I wanted to create my book as a safe space. And so I wanted my exhibition space to kind of reflect that. I wanted somewhere warm and fairly quiet and dark and comfortable, because I always found that small enclosed dark spaces were far more comfortable to me than big wide open spaces where there is too many angles in which something could come for you. But if you're in a small dark enclosed space, there's only like one, maybe two exits at most, which means that you can keep your eyes on it the whole time and nothing can sneak up on you, which is so much better to me, in my opinion. And so I tried to like create a space like that in my exhibition space, specifically because I wanted my space to represent my book, and I think I succeeded in that. I don't think that the glow in the dark stars are gonna work, but at least there's still stars and they're still very cute and fun. They just won't glow, and I'm fine with that. I've come to terms with the fact that my stars will not glow. But it is what it is, you know. You just gotta move on with your life. And I worked really hard, and I think it's come out really nicely. It's really warm. I really like the fairy lights, even though they gave me 2 panic attacks. It's really comfortable. The cushions are nice. The lid on it, I love that when you look up, you can see more stars. I just love that. I think that's my favourite part about it. But yeah. I think that I've done okay on this project eventually. I think that it's been a long and hard journey to get here, but I think I've succeeded, if I do say so myself, which I just did. But you know, I'm really proud of myself for how much I managed to get done, for not giving up, for actually managing to finish my project without, you know, like having a full mental breakdown. I mean, I I'm so proud of myself. And yeah, I guess that's the end of this video talky thing. It's about 40 minutes long, but that's okay. Yeah, I have been Artie Bawden. I have, in fact, gotten distracted so many times during this that you could probably use this to diagnose me with something. Who knows what it would be, but like, you know, it is what it is. This will one day be a relic, and someone will find it, and it will be worshipped as the true, god. Yep. Someday in the extremely post-apocalyptic future, this recording will in fact be considered to be the word of some kind of deity, and I'm fine with that. So yeah, this has been the Artie Bawden. Yeah, happy marking.